Welcome to Mikamchi Yisrael. What a glorious day for our people. It's very difficult not to dance while sharing the weekly dirasha. In Sefer Bereshit, we read the famous pasuk, B'za'at tapecha tocha lechem ad shufcha al ha'adama. By the sweat of your brow shall you eat bread until you return to the ground. After Adam Harishon and Hava ate from the Eitz Hadat, the world, it fell into shadow. Death entered creation, toil and pain became the new condition of humanity. And at that very moment, when all seemed broken, Adam did something extraordinary. He turned to his wife, the same woman who had shared in that fateful act, and he named her Hava, the mother of all life. It's astonishing when you think about it. If ever there was a moment to speak in anger or regret, this was it. If ever there was a reason to see failure, to point blame, this was it. But Adam chose differently. He chose to see not the failure, but the potential. Not the darkness, but the spark of light still glowing within it. The altar of Kelm teaches Adam was imitating the derech of Borei Olam. Because even after the sin, Borei Olam performed the very first act of chesed in history. He made garments for Adam and Chava, clothing them with compassion, even as he sent them from Gan Eden. The Torah begins with chesed, and it ends with chesed. It begins with Hashem Yitbarach clothing the fallen and ends with Hashem Yitbarach bearing Moshe Rabbeinu. The message is eternal. Greatness is not measured by how we treat the perfect, but by how we treat the broken. Adam looked at Chava and said, "You are still the mother of all life." He refused to define her by a single mistake. He saw through the totality of who she was, the goodness she had already brought into the world, and the promise that still lived within her. True chesed is not hosting Rav Steinemann Zatzal for Shabbat. That's an honor. True chesed is when a mishulach arrives, unpleasant, loud, and you welcome him warmly anyway. It's when you look at a person not through the lens of the moment, but through the backdrop of a lifetime. If we wish our relationships with spouses, children, friends to flourish, we must learn to see others as Borei Olam saw Adam and Chava, not in the snapshot of a failure, but in the full picture of goodness. Don't dwell on mistakes. If Adam could look at Chava, the very woman whom through death entered the world, and still call her the mother of life, then surely we can look at the people around us and see the goodness that still lives within them. Because when we choose to see with compassion instead of criticism, with memory instead of judgment, we mirror the very first chesed in creation. There was once a Rav who lived this truth, not in words, but in action. His name was Rabbi Yitzchak Vaknin. He was a Talmid Chacham in Morocco when he ran a girls' seminary. He had made a quiet promise to himself. No Jewish girl would ever be turned away, not one. He knew that every neshama is a world, and that sometimes a spark needs only one breath of kindness to ignite. One day, a father appeared at his door. His face was weary, his voice was trembling. Kavod Arav, he said, "I have a daughter. She's been thrown out of every school. Wherever she goes, there's chaos. But she's my child. She's all I have left. Please, I'm begging you, take her." Rav Vaknin didn't ask for details. He didn't look for guarantees. He simply said, and I quote, "If she is a daughter of Am Yisrael, she belongs here." And so she came. From the first morning, it was difficult. She challenged every teacher, mocked every rule. Within 2 days, the staff was ready to give up. The students were in tears, but Rav Vaknin, calm, gentle, steady, said only, "Don't send her away. Try one more day." But on the third day, she left on her own. Just like that, a storm that came and went. And for years, Rav Vaknin carried the pain, wondering if perhaps this was the one soul he couldn't reach. Decades later, Rav Vaknin made Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael. And one day, a call comes from London. "Rav Vaknin," the Dayanim asked him, "there's a woman here who insists she's Jewish. She's married to a non-Jew, but she wants a Brit Milah for her son. She says you were her Rav in Morocco." Rav Vaknin's mind froze. The memories rushed back, that face, those eyes, those 2 stormy days, and he said, "Yes, she is Jewish, without question." After the Brit Milah, the woman approached the Bet Din, tears in her eyes. Her voice was trembling, and she says, "I made mistakes, many. But when I was 17, I spent 2 days in a seminary in Morocco. 2 days. And I saw what a Jew looks like, what a Rav looks like. And I promised myself, if I ever have a child, he will be a Jew. And in that moment, Rav Vaknin, he understood there's no such thing as a lost act of chesed, no word of kindness that vanishes, no spark of love that fails to light another soul. Sometimes it takes years, even a generation, for that light to emerge, but it always does. Because when a Jew chooses to see life not through the sin, but through the neshama, through the backdrop of goodness, that's when eternity begins. Ladies and gentlemen, Bereshit is not just the beginning of the Torah, it's the blueprint of the Jewish soul. Am Yisrael clearly illustrated to the world the value of a single Jewish neshama over the last 738 days. Incidentally, the same gematria of Mizmor LeTodah. But there was Abraham, before there was Am Yisrael, there was Chesed. Borei Olam himself clothed Adam and Chava. He saw beyond the sin, he saw the light still buried within the darkness. And that DNA of compassion, it became ours. Rabbi Yitzchak Vaknin, he didn't see a rebellious girl. He saw a neshama waiting to come home. He looked not at what she was, but at what she could be. And because he did, a Jewish child entered the covenant of Abraham Avinu. And the chain of eternity continued unbroken. That is Bereshit. That's the first spark of creation, to see life where the world sees dust. Every time we choose to forgive, every time we look past the flaw and find the goodness, we are replaying the opening words of the Torah, creating light out of darkness. We remind Shemayim that the children of Adam still believe in Chava, because to be a Jew is to look at imperfection and whisper, there is life here yet. And from that moment on, the world begins again. Chag Sameach.